Good morning. Happy Halloween. For those of you that celebrate this sort of thing. Crow of Demise, hello, hello. Good to see you. Ved's Improvin, if you're still here. You were here early, man. 3:49 a.m. Time zones are weird because to me it looks like you guys are waking up way, way, way too early. There we go. Alright, we got one viewer. Yay! You know what though? I'm happy. What's up, I Love Lamp? How are you? One of our illustrious YouTube members. No way, setup change. Well, I just moved my desk. So normally my desk was like, if you kind of think of my room as like a square, my desk, currently from where my desk was, it was like not a 90-degree pivot. So I just turned my desk like 90 degrees. So it's basically pointing at a corner in the wall. That's the main thing I did different. I just wanted to have a little bit of depth behind me. I think at some point I probably will like completely change the layout of the room, but yesterday I was like, I don't want to move everything. So I just moved my desk. But I'm still in the same room, same equipment, all that good stuff. Just different angle. But sometimes a different angle is all you need to make things feel different. All right. Well, Halloween. I think that we have a good stream planned for today. It's on theme. We're going to work on Casper the Ghost Writer. And not writer, but writer. Yeah. Let's see. I got paint.net this morning, and damn, I'm having fun with it. When anybody says paint.net, I always think of Thor from Pirate Software because he uses it all the time. Hey, Ducky Dev, how are you doing? Life treating you well? How's NetGoat going? I forget what you told me you were working on the last time you were here. It was something. It was something NetGoat related, but it was different. It was different in name, but somehow it was related to NetGoat. I can't remember. Took a break from coding. There's nothing wrong with that, man. Sometimes you need a break. I've been dealing with kind of a sticky problem at work this week, all week, and so I've had my share moments of you just sometimes when you're working a problem, you need a palate cleanser. But also sometimes you just don't feel like coding. That's a real thing, you know. Since I have so much with paint.net, I edited a screenshot of a Discord message showing they blocked me even though they didn't for fun. They believe me. Okay, hold on. So is the crying emoji mean laughing? Or are you actually crying? Because somebody told me that the younger generations use the crying emoji to represent laughter. Is this true? Because I find it very confusing. Because right now, I think you're crying. But I think if I'm interpreting this according to like the Gen Zers and younger, this actually means you're laughing. Laughing. Okay, nah. 32-year-old dad of two. I'm not that old though. Like I'm a millennial, I guess. I'm like a young millennial. But yeah, I'm not. I guess I haven't kept up on that trend. Oh man, I forgot my slippers upstairs. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my slippers. I don't. My feet get cold. Now I really do sound like an old man. Uh, be right back. Went to get slippers so my feet don't don't freeze. Listen, everyone can make fun of me, but once you've had a good pair of slippers and your feet are not cold anymore, then come and talk to me. All right, I'll be right back. One sec. The 6'7" meme is so bad. Yeah, I don't know if it's so much as I don't find it bad. It is kind of bizarre though. It's just random and nonsensical. But so are other things in the world. And if it brings other people joy, I'll let them have it. 6'7" all day. It's fine. Hey, what's up, Veds? You just get here? Yes, all the regulars are here. I saw you were here earlier, but it was super early. Excuse me. Let's control W. I feel like I should have dressed up for Halloween since now I'm streaming. I feel like I should have been like Master Chief from Halo or something. Well, I'm glad you're here now. That's all right. So, housekeeping items. Which problems and stuff to fit. Yeah. So the plan. So how? Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to do. Housekeeping. So plan for today is we're gonna spend the last day on this Casper project on stream. We're probably not gonna get it finished. Um, but I think what I'll do is I'll take this project and then I'll move it to my off-stream work, and then my on-stream work is going to be focused on Go. So today's our last day for a little while working with C# on stream, at least like full time for the foreseeable future. Hello there, Master Chief. I hope you got your Siri with you. Yeah. Man, Microsoft really screwed that up. I tell you what, they threw away Cortana as a product so cheaply and easily, right? Like Cortana should have been like the last name you gave to your AI assistant. Wait, I got an idea. You should try Home Assistant. I don't know. Everything I've watched and read on Home Assistant seems like it's a lot of fussing with stuff that should just kind of work. And I don't know if I want to spend a bunch of time fussing over my smart home. Now, Jarvis make me coffee? I could be down for that, which I'm guessing you guys saw earlier this week. There's a company that released a humanoid robot for, I think it's like 20 grand. I think the company's name is Neo. Yeah, this. Which, could they have given it a creepier face? Like look at this picture. Why is this the face? This looks like the face of a robot from a serial robot killer movie. You know? Like, let me just zoom in on that for you guys. You guys don't think that's creepy? It has no nose. It has no mouth. They should have just removed its eyes. If you're not going to give it a face, don't give it any parts of the face. Oh my goodness, what is happening? I can't get out of here. There we go. Any event, I would happily buy a humanoid robot just to be able to say, Jarvis, make me coffee. Neo's face looks like Caroline stop frame movies. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's kind of unsettling, you know? But I mean, I can definitely get down with a humanoid robot. I just don't want one that looks like it. I don't know. I just don't want I don't want one that looks like a murderous robot. You still have to pay 500. Okay, hold on. That's improv. Back up. You're saying you buy the robot for 20 grand and then you pay $500 a month to have the robot? Is that what you're saying? Gun. Cortana died due to Copilot policy. Dude, I mean, Copilot's a great product. I mean, that's like, talk about some of the best branding and like naming that Microsoft's ever done. I mean, Cortana was Cortana, man. Like, if you grew up playing Halo, like if you are of my generation, if you are of that like 30 to 40-year-old generation today, like Halo was the game for a lot of us. I remember I read all the books in middle school. Yeah, like, and they just threw her away. The robot can't still do all the tasks that they told it that it could do. Oh. Well, that's stupid. So they didn't really like release a robot, huh? So this is more of like a marketing PR thing than an actual product? That seems shady. Halo on OG Xbox, yeah, and then I think for a lot of us, Halo 3, that was like the peak, you know, peak. Then we all had to put up with Halo ODST, which was like, why did we do this? Why did we need this side quest? Let's see. So to fix that, the Neo company hires people who can wear VR headsets, look at your house and stuff, and try to navigate the robot to work properly. And the more it works, the more it will learn and then become better. Wait, so you're gonna pay 20 grand for a robot, then you have to then train? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that defeats the purpose a little bit. Is this true? Are you pulling my leg? Because this doesn't seem like how did this get? How did the company? Maybe they were running out of money. Neo robot requires training. The new humanoid oh, here it is, CNET. It's like the first lines in their article. This new humanoid home robot costs 20K, and you still have to train it. Well, I guess I'm showing that I didn't read any of the articles and only the headlines, aren't I? Let's see. If that sounds enticing, pre-orders are now open for a mere $200 down. You'll be signing up as an early adopter for what Neo's maker, a California-based company called 1X. So basically, they're going to use consumers as a way to augment their workforce. Essentially, they're like, "Hey, pay us money. We'll ship you the product, and you'll do the last, um, you'll do like kind of the last mile of training, essentially, because we don't want to pay or hire people to do that." That's crazy, dude. Hey, what's up, Nomad Ned? How are you? Good to see you. Just 100 payments of 200 bucks. For just 100 payments of $199.99, you too could be the trainer of a Neo robot. uh, yeah, there should be an infomercial about this. Oh, and it only has a 4-hour runtime. That's a problem, right? I mean, who wants to have to worry about charging the robot all the time? See, battery technology is still a thing for almost every electronic product, you know? The whole battery life, it's still like, to me, that's one of those last mile problems on the material science and like hard science side of technology that we have to solve, right? This is the same issue with the MetaQuest. Like, if you guys, we have one of these at our house, and that's still one of the problems. Is it only works for like 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours probably, depending on what you're playing, and then it's already too heavy, really, to be comfortable to wear for 2 to 4 hours to like work in or play long extended video game sessions in. So it's like we still have to solve this battery issue. Everything requires it to be charged. None of it holds a charge for very long, and all the batteries are super freaking heavy. I honestly cannot believe the Neo company thought that was a, like, how many people do you think are actually going to buy that thing? What do you think? 100 people? Over under 100 people. Charges itself apparently? Like it'll be like, I need to rest, and then it walks to the corner and like plugs itself into the outlet. Star Trek data, Android would be a nice thing. Definitely wouldn't have a problem with coffee making. Yeah. No, I mean, 20 grand for a coffee making robot seems, I mean, that seems like a great financial decision. uh, by the way, Steven, have you seen Microsoft Edit? It gives me old DOS vibes of edit.exe. I think I've seen it. I think actually Stefan and I looked at it way back when on stream, actually. Um, they rewrote it with Rust, right? I think was, if I remember right. Yeah, Rust. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I've looked at it. Yeah, it's fun. Do I have it installed? At one point I had it on a machine somewhere. It may be on it. Yeah, see, I already have it. Yeah. I don't know when we looked at this the first time. It's been a while, but yeah. Hello. I think we even how do I exit this? Control Q. Don't save. We actually wrote code using it for a little while. So let's do edit source Casper program CS. There we go. This is how we're gonna edit nowadays. Who needs NeoVim? Although, look, I can't do Vim motions. That's a problem. It's a real problem. Finally, something from Microsoft that isn't garbage at start. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there at the beginning of VS Code, so I don't really know what VS Code was like in the early days, but yeah, maybe Microsoft I guess does kind of have a history of products not being the greatest on the first iteration. But I guess if you're following that whole idea of like MVP, right? You want a bad product on the first iteration. You don't want a polished thing. Laugh my ass off. We're paying them to create training data for their Neo V2. You're right, 100%. And then what's going to be the upgrade path, right? So if you, let's say you pre-order for $200 and you signed up for your $199.99 payment for 200 months. And then after a month, they're like, you know what? We have all this training data. We can make a better version of Neo, but the hardware that's in Neo 1 isn't suitable. So we're going to make a Neo 2. And you can upgrade by just increasing your payment of $199.99 every month to $200.99. You know what I mean? Like, that sounds like a nightmare. It's, to me, having a robot that you rent from a company seems like that way lies madness. Like, I think if you're gonna invest in a robot, it needs to be more like a car. Like, it's gonna be something you own and something you're responsible for maintaining. And there needs to be like a bunch of service providers that grow up around this industry locally. So like it's so wild that we're having this conversation. That we're having a conversation about the humanoid robot that you're gonna take down to the robot store to get it repaired when you need to. Can I send the result of the edited chat I made on the Discord? Yeah, you're welcome to post most things in Discord, you know? I mean, there's a line, okay? So as long as your shit doesn't cross the line, you're welcome to post it in my Discord. And for those of you who don't know, we do have a Discord. If you go to discord.stephenfreeborn.com, you should find it there. Sorry, chat, I was in the void. Hello, Crow of Demise. Good to see you, man. This is a very useful editor when using Windows Server with SSH console. I believe that. But I've never had to really do anything with the Windows Server. I've gotten lucky. Hey, Steven, I like your coding streams, but isn't there a way to simultaneously stream 6:9 format? It's cool to watch it this way on the phone, but I'd like to watch it on my TV or PC too. Totally fair, Ramazan. Totally fair, and I really appreciate the feedback. There's actually another chatter that I have named Butterscotch. He's kind of like my resident Vim expert, like my own personal Vim Foo coach. What would that be? My Vim Foo master. Yeah, he's been on my ass about streaming horizontally as well. Not that you're on my ass, but he's been asking me to do a horizontal format stream, and I did try that. So I set up OBS. There's a plugin that you can get that basically allows you to output two different, I don't know what you call them, streams, I guess, two different streams. And so what you do is on YouTube, you set up two independent streams with separate, what's that abbreviation? RMTPS. Basically, they have separate links that you stream to. And then in OBS, you basically set up this plugin lets you set up two different canvases and scenes simultaneously and then output to it. I tried that once and it absolutely crushed my network. So I don't know if that was at my old house too. So I haven't tried it since we moved and got different internet, but it just crushed my bandwidth. So I haven't gone back to that. However, if you guys are interested in that, I will keep an eye out. YouTube sent out a in September. YouTube sent out a notice, multiple format streaming. Basically, YouTube is going to take care of this for us. So they're introducing something called dual format or simultaneous format or something like that. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah. So basically, soon creators will be able to broadcast in both horizontal and vertical formats. However, they're rolling this out like incrementally, and because I'm just a random guy streaming in his basement in Kansas in the middle of the United States, I'm guessing I'm not on the short list for this functionality. However, as soon as I get it, I will work on making it possible so that we have a horizontal scene and a vertical scene, and you guys can switch back and forth between the two. But totally appreciate your feedback, man. I get it. Trust me, this is not the most this is not the most productive setup that I have going at the moment on the little vertical half screen, but it has been the most optimal for like channel growth and engagement in chat because I get way more interaction in chat from vertical streams than I do horizontal ones for sure. The void is very useful to rest a little bit. Honey, I'm going into the void. I need to take a rest. I'd rather have my robot be functional rather than human-like. That's fair, totally fair. But I think the problem with most robots today is they're single purpose, right? So if you build a robot that is exceptionally good at a particular task, it's not very useful to the everyday human because what the everyday human needs is it needs a robot that can be very generalized. So that's why the humanoid form factor is kind of exciting for like a household robot, right? Versus a robot that you would use in like a factory or a plant. Because there's very few things that we do, 100,000 times a day. So optimizing a robot for any one task doesn't really make sense if you're going to stick it in your house. When someone always mentions Discord, he replies with his Discord server link. Well, yeah, because I don't want to like gatekeep, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be like, "Hey, you can send that in Discord," but then not tell people like I want people to be in on the joke, so to speak. So that's why I always share it. And fuck you, Lamp, making fun of me. I'm trying to do my best over here, okay? 20 years ago, this would have been Sooner Talk. Now we are putting help bots on layaway. Oh, Stoner Talk. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. It's 100% right. It's crazy times we're living in. See you, Gun Highs. Have a good day, man. I'm going to the void. Thanks a lot. Until that function comes, we'll watch like that. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you sticking around. And if you don't want to, if the format isn't your thing for now, that's totally cool too, man. I get it. You definitely don't have to force yourself into an uncomfortable viewing experience. I think it's because it gets put on YouTube Shorts and live streams appear there if they're vertical. Oh, for sure, that's why Crow demise. And YouTube has been very blatantly clear that like what they care about is they care about people streaming vertically on their platform and people posting short format vertical content. Like I'll just show you guys. And granted, I know my horizontal videos aren't anything to really write home about, but I'll just show you from an analytics perspective, um, like the difference. How do I? There we go. No, I don't want to do that. Uh, how do I? There we go. Our mute, dude, the music site just crashed. Look. Do you think we broke something? Oh, I don't know what I did. I did something that caused the address to change. Here, I just wanted to show you guys this because this is pretty crazy from a creator perspective. Is like YouTube honestly doesn't give two shits about horizontal video anymore. How do I find like specific videos? I guess this shows how much I use. Well, I guess we can actually just go to my channel. That's probably an easier way to see it, right? Yeah, we can just do this. Go to my channel. So like, for example, on my videos, right? I made like 4 videos about making agents, and collectively, I mean, I know there's nothing to write home about. We're not talking about Mark Rober quality videos, but collectively they got less than 400 views, right? Then you post a short, like I post a like 13-second short, and it gets 974 views, right? So it's just like, if you're gonna spend time creating content and you want people to see your content, I wouldn't labor too much over horizontal video these days. All right, let's write some code, yeah? What's the name of the OBS plugin for multiple resolution thing? Share in chat if you can. Oh, also, how do I stream vertically? So in the OBS, you just change your base canvas. Like in OBS, when you're setting up your canvas, you can set up if you're doing like what the resolution of your thing is, and you just change that. So like I have 2 different profiles. I have a profile that's set up for horizontal, and then I have a profile that's set up for vertical. So it makes it a little bit easier to go back and forth. Hey, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate it. Oh no, I can't. I'm sorry, I couldn't say your name because I didn't think about that. I put this member scroll bar. I put this YouTube members scroll bar up last night, and now I realize the stream elements alerts kind of aren't very readable. This is the name of the plugin. Let's see. I love lamp. Here is the name of the vertical plugin. It's called Adium? Something like that. Yeah, multimedia will go crazy because people on phones will have a better time, and people anywhere else that doesn't have a small screen will have a better time on their device stuff. Yeah, that's totally fair. There's also a lot of psychology in YouTube video making with titles and the images on them, stuff like that, way complex for clicks and stuff. Yeah, for sure, but like all things being equal, right? Like I put the same level of effort and polish into a short as I do. Like I put more effort and polish into a horizontal video than I do with a vertical. And like even assuming my horizontal videos are shit, right? But assuming my short videos are of equal quality and effort, like if you look at the analytics, like it's disproportionate. So I don't think it has anything to do with like, I mean, there's probably some amount has to do with quality, but it's very clear that algorithmically YouTube is pushing content that is of a certain type. And they've been honest about that too. Like in all their like marketing and material recently towards creators, they've been very clear that this is what they want. They want to compete with TikTok. They want vertical format. They want live streamers. They want get ready with me streamers. Like they've been pretty transparent about it. And the vast majority of people do consume everything on their phone. Like that, the people like us who like to watch coding streams on their PCs while they code is, you know, a very small segment of the population. Long forms can work as long as you give the highest possible value, then cut it into all the shorts that you can. Then post the shorts of the long form bid and link the long form so as to post. I don't know, man. That's not been my experience. Like, I'll just tell you. But if you know of a creator that has been making content in like the last year that is using that strategy, I'd love to go peruse their channel because that doesn't seem to work. And it obviously could be a skill issue. uh, all right, code time, huh? Some code. This on this Halloween. I don't even remember where I was. Where was I? So I fixed this issue. This was a problem. That's in problem. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not saying you guys are that strategy is not a real thing. I guess what I mean, maybe what I mean trying to communicate is organically YouTube wants vertical content. They don't want horizontal. Vertical canvas Windows installer looks sus, no? Um, you could say, I mean, any exe looks sus. I think our brains over the last 20 years have been trained to be sus of any exe, but that's how it works. Your chief information security officer would be proud of your vigilance. Okay, I think where I ended up on this yesterday, if I remember right, was this fails because the workflow proceeds to run too far. Yeah. So how do I fix this? I don't really know how to fix this. I wonder how they did it in their tests. Basically, I need to control, like, so what's happening in my test is we're running through the whole workflow. And really what I want to do is I only want to run, whoops. I only want to run through this part of the workflow. I basically want to stop here. Like when we get to the writer, stop. Don't try to pass it on any further. Or no, when I get to the researcher. When I get to the researcher, oh goodness, if I could draw with this tool, the researcher. I want to stop here. So how do I do that? How do I control how far the workflow runs? I do not know how to do that. I do not know, Sam I am. EXEs are always sketch if you don't get them from a verified source. Yeah, this is true. I had a stroke typing TS. What? What are you talking about? Did you really have a stroke or are you just fucking around? Yeah, I don't even know how to make an EXE that is properly signed so that Windows doesn't like, you know, like if you download an exe that isn't properly verified or properly signed or something, the browser will like alert you about it. I don't even know how to make it so that it doesn't do that. I've never done it. Hey, what's up, Yasir? Yasir, sorry. Hope you are doing great. Yeah, man, we're getting our day started. It's Halloween over here, so my folks are in town. Actually, my mom and my stepdad are here visiting us. So we've got I said from them a. Hold on, let me go back. Oh, you did say that. I didn't even. X's are always sketch if you don't get from them a verified source. Yeah, okay. I see what you mean. But yeah, I'm doing good this year. We're trying to just work on Casper for the last day of October before we switch over full time to be a Go developer for the month of November. And then I don't really have big plans. I gotta take my car to get the oil changed later today. Take my kids trick or treating, go to their Halloween parties at school. Should be a good day. It'd be an even better day if I could figure out how to write this test the way I want to write it. Oh, this is the wrong folder. Excuse me. Whew. I mean, I definitely know how I could fix this. I could 100% fix this by having some sort of event that my workflow emits that I then pause on or stop on. But I want to see if there's like a native built-in way to do this. Let's see, in-process execution tests. Maybe the streaming version is what I want. Excuse me. Because see, like the streaming event, you can actually sort of wait on, I think, and control a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Is it pretty early for me? Yes, it is very early. It's 4:58 a.m. and we started streaming at 4:15. Yeah, 4:15 in the morning. So it's, I mean, this is probably the earliest you can wake up and consider it, I guess, morning. You know, I mean, I feel like if you wake up before 4 a.m., you're kind of like still on the night before. Is your project written like part one, part two? Each file and folder is basically what I'm asking. I don't think so. I don't think it follows that structure. My project is primarily structured by um like feature almost, or maybe area of concern is a better way to put it. So I basically have a source folder and then I have a test folder. And then each of my projects has its own folder within there. So right now I just have two projects. I have a console project and then a test project. And then for the production code, I have it segregated into like namespace that address those areas of concern. So like everything related to critiquing is in the critique folder, right? So this has my critic executor, my critic agent, my critic agent response, the prompt for my critic agent is in here, and I have that for each one of the kind of pieces of functionality in the app. And then my tests are organized very similar. The only difference with my tests is I added a namespace for the different types. So I have a namespace for unit, and then I have a namespace for integration. So that's how my project's organized at the moment. Hey, what's up, Arvin? How are you, man? Are you doing well? We're currently making zero progress over here on coding. We've just been talking the whole morning. Sample. Simple workflow. Oh, these are just their samples that they are testing. So how do I don't know how to do this, man, honestly. I don't know how to do it without just having some special event that's unique for my testing purposes, which I don't like because I feel like there should be a way. Hmm. I mean, I guess what I could do is in my writer. So this is where we want to stop running. So I guess what I could do is I could just mock out a response, right? That's null. And I think this would work. So like if I came up here and I said, instead of having just a researcher, I could say var writer agent response. I think this will work, but it's not quite what I want to test. You know what I mean? Like now I'm testing something that I don't really want to test at this moment in time. Let me see. Actually, we don't need this. Actually, we can just respond with string.empty, I think is what we can do here. And then I think if I just add another sequential call, I think this would fix the issue, but I don't think that's how I want to handle it. Expected status to be running but found idle. Yeah, see, idle is that's what I want. Should be idle. Expected run.new events. Huh. Okay, that one I don't understand why. So what I'm expecting in this test to happen is basically I start the workflow up here with a question. Then now I'm responding to that question with an answer. And then in my workflow, I'm basically responding with a response from my interviewer. Yeah, my interviewer that basically says it doesn't need any more info, which means it should pass it to my research agent. And then I'm expecting down here that we'll get another question. Sorry, man, I can't read I gotta move the stream elements thing. Thank you for subbing. I appreciate it. I just can't see your name now because of the member scroll, which I love the member scroll because I want to show how much I appreciate people who become members of my channel, but now I can't see dang the damn the damn stream alerts. Let's see. What's the name of their website? Streamelements.com. Crow of Demise. Tests inside of tests, bro. Yeah, give me all the tests, man. Like, Jesper. Hey, what's up, Jesper? What am I building? I'm building an app that uses the new Microsoft Agent framework to basically help me um to basically be like my own personal ghostwriter. So we're using this agent framework from Microsoft to build this kind of a workflow using agents. That is what we're building at the moment. Oh, Arvin, sorry I didn't see your reply. Crow of Demise. That's a whole lot of files, but I was asking because it'd be easier to do stuff if your files are all neat and you know what to put where to stop stuff from happening. Oh no, I mean I feel like my project's organized. I know where to put files. It's just I don't know how to work with this API. I'm still learning the library, you know? So it's more about exploring the library and trying to figure out how it works than my files aren't organized. But I mean, fair enough. I mean, I take your point. Having an organized project is helpful. Jesper, sounds fun. Thanks for the answer. Of course, yeah, I'm always happy to answer your questions. Yeah, it's been a fun project. We've been working on it most of October. This library is very cool. If you're a Python or a .NET developer, this agent framework library is very cool. I would highly encourage you guys to go check it out if you're kind of curious about that. If you're curious about how you can start integrating LLMs into your applications without writing a bunch of code yourself, like reinventing the wheel that people have already kind of have established patterns. And then you also want like a common layer of abstraction so that you can switch model providers. Like that would be this library is very cool. I'm gonna try to fix the overlay really quick. Sorry guys, I know this is something I should have probably tested yesterday, but I didn't. So here we are. But the members are on screen, so that was the most important thing yesterday. So position. How do I? Let's see. Height is. Okay, hold on real quick. I'm gonna test an alert, so just hold your. Can I replay an alert? I want to replay the previous alert. How do I do that? Okay, that's in the middle. Sorry, I'm gonna do this a couple times, guys. So if it gets annoying, maybe mute yourself or like turn your audio off. I'm just gonna push it down so it's not on the. There we go. That purple's a little hard to read though, isn't it? Or maybe it's just because it's bolded. Maybe that's why it's hard to read. Amy? Yeah, now I can read that. And the purple is just hard. There's not enough contrast. Yeah, we'll just make it white. I know. I'll tinker with this some more off stream, but I didn't want people subbing and I couldn't actually give them a shout out. Okay, let's go to member alerts. We'll set that to white. For now. Maybe I'm getting old and I just can't read very well. Need glasses. Okay, there we go. That's good enough for now. That's good enough for now. I think you should make a repo with all the stuff you think is awesome, like the agent framework. I wouldn't keep up with it. If I made it, I wouldn't keep up with it. So I'm just gonna, when I find things, I'm gonna tell you guys about them on stream, and then hopefully, hopefully you guys can take it from there. I love lamp. Next CMD, I'm adding to Terry. Mod config. Nice. Well, I'm glad you're having fun building your bot out. I love lamp. Just have your code print banana 6.7 quadrillion times. There's no white lines around the letters, whatever contrasts with the current color. Yeah, the current color is kind of difficult. I think I'll play around a little bit with the stream elements overlay, but I'll do that when we're not live. I wasn't thinking about that yesterday when I built the member scroll animation thing. Which, crazy, how about this? This is kind of a really weird thing that I found about the YouTube API. So the YouTube API has the ability to get a list of members for your channel. However, this is super weird, and I was fighting with YouTube support most of the day about this. Apparently, you have to get special, I don't know if you guys can see this, you have to get special access to use this endpoint. You have to reach out to your Google or YouTube representative to request access. Even though what's weird is this information, the member information, you can get from your YouTube Studio dashboard. You don't have, so it's like they'll give you a CSV of it, but they won't let you pull it from the API without special permission. It's the weirdest thing. Because I want to have it like programmatically updated. So like if people join as members during a stream, I want that list of scrolling names to like update to reflect that. But right now it's just static. Like I make the list once and I have to update it manually because I can't call that API endpoint. It's super weird. Ohio, Josimus Stevenson. Hello, Harry Empire. Good morning. Good to see you. YouTube just tweaks to tweak for real. Yeah, they really do. And their support people were so unhelpful yesterday when I was trying to get support on it. Like, they kept wanting to send me to a chat bot that answers questions about the API. And I was like, no, I need to talk to like a real human being. They're like, no, go to this API website and talk to the chatbot and ask that chatbot about your API question. I was like, no, my question isn't about the API. In your documentation, it says I need to request access. That's why I'm here. It's crazy that a company can actively try to not be helpful through support so they don't have to do more support, right? Like, and I understand the business, the economics of that, right? If Google had to provide one-on-one support to every one of its users, it would go bankrupt. So I sort of understand, but at the same time, you just would expect more from the services you use, I guess. I need to set a breakpoint here. And maybe I'm just being like a Karen about this, I'm just being kind of a grumpy person about it, but it just feels frustrating. Yeah, their support is literally just a robot that sends you another robot. Maybe it's because in YouTube dashboard team is different from YouTube API team and they are more strict on API. Yeah, I guess that's it. Or maybe they want, yeah, I'm not really sure why they would pick a singular endpoint out like that. There's gotta be some reason for it, Arvin. I totally agree. There's gotta be some purpose to that. They don't want people abusing it, or yeah, I don't know. I don't even know why they would do that, but I'm sure there's a good reason for it. We'll probably never know why. Streaming is fun. I love streaming, but when there's no viewers, it feels boring. Well, yeah, I mean, but when you start streaming, you're gonna be by yourself. You know what I mean? Like the first month. Well, like the first month, like December 2024, I streamed Advent of Code for like 6 hours a day to just myself. There's like never any viewers, right? And that's the way it is. That we all start at zero. Everyone starts at zero, and we can all go back to zero. You know, you can always like, you guys could all just be like, okay, I've had enough of Steven talking. His voice now annoys me, so I'm moving on. Yeah, that's just the nature of the beast, you know. How do I? There you go. Okay, I'm trying to. Oh, this is not the breakpoint I wanted to hit. This is the breakpoint. So here's our run. This is our request info event. And then this is our run. So our run currently has 16 events in it. And then, dude, working with a debugger on a vertical stream is painful. Okay, so we have, you guys can kind of see the pattern here. So we have user, then we have the interviewer. And so then the interviewer went straight to the researcher. And then the researcher went to the writer. Yeah, so I think my assertion is just wrong. I don't think I know what I'm doing. So basically I'm saying, hey, this should contain a new request info event, but that's actually wrong because it should be when interviewer has enough info, it should pass topic brief to researcher. In which case, whenever this is true, we would not expect a new request info. So we should say E is not, or actually, I guess we should say all or every. Is there an every? Oh, I guess I can do it like this. I can say, oh, here you go. Should not contain E. An expression tree may not contain is pattern matching. Well, then why does this work? All right, now I think this will pass. Crow, it's counterintuitive as fuck. People just like to lurk and listen sometimes. I mean honestly guys, I'm totally fine if you guys want to lurk and just listen and hang out and work on your own projects while I talk and not work on my projects. So I'm totally okay with that. Cuz I honestly when I watch a lot most people's streams, I don't chat much. Like I just kind of hang out and listen, and I'll engage if there's something that I think is cool, or if I want to say thank you, or you know, share a compliment or something. But that's how I consume most streams. So I'm totally fine with doing that with people doing my I think my ideal experience for my stream is that people can come and they can sort of like co-work with me almost, almost like if we were all sort of at a coffee shop and we all had our laptop set up and we're all kind of doing our own separate thing, but occasionally we look up and we have an exchange and we talk about some topic, then we go back to work for a little bit. I think that's ultimately the kind of vibe I'd like to have long term for the stream. Alright, I don't know. I don't really like what I'm doing here to make this work, but it works. So I think I'll leave it for now. Yeah, I think I'll leave it for now. So let's come down here. Did we also do one for the other case? When user answers questions, it should route question to interviewer. Yeah. And then let's say fact. Let's go here. We probably can turn some of these into like a data-driven test as well. We don't need to repeat ourselves so much, but oftentimes I find it's much easier to write code that is not so dry to get something working and then refactor to drier code, right? So like start with wet code or code that repeats itself and then refactor to dry code. So get it working, then make it work well type of approach. So when an interviewer does not have enough info, it should ask user follow-up question like this. So we'll set needs more info to true. True. And then we don't even need all these now. We actually don't need these. And then we'll set this to that. And then we'll come down here, and so this should actually be pending. And then this should be contained. So we're basically saying, hey, we asked the user a question, they gave us an answer. The interviewer tried to figure out if it had enough information, and the interviewer basically says, I don't have enough information, so I have another question. And at that point in time, my workflow should then ask the user for more input. So if this works, this should pass. Free balling the code. Why not? Wiley, that's a nice thought. Kind of dreamed that too. Diego, thanks for subbing. I appreciate you. Mr. Munjin, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate you guys. It's very kind. Yeah, Wiley, that's kind of my vision for the stream, or that's what I always hoped. And honestly, I think that's because for me, Wiley, there's a lot of people's streams that have got me through the last 4 years of working and also learning to code, where like I like coding can be such an isolating experience, right? Where like you're in a room, you're on a computer by yourself, working on an idea, you're kind of living all in your head that after a point in time, it's kind of nice to be able to have some sense of some other human being's presence, whether even if that's virtual, right? So I think it's kind of nice to be able to have like somebody stream up and you're working on the other side and you're just listening to the conversation, and it just doesn't feel that it makes coding feel less lonely in my opinion. That is a long string name. Are you talking about my method name? Everybody comments on these method names. Everyone that okay, so if you don't come from a .NET background, then you probably don't have context to know that these methods are your test name, right? So you know how like in JavaScript, right? Um, Everyone always comments. I think this is so funny because I don't know what other .NET devs do. Maybe I'm doing something that's completely foreign or wrong. But like you know how like in a lot of test frameworks in like the TypeScript world, playground to show this, but a lot of the like for example vite test, right? You'll have the function test and then you'll pass in a name, right? This is my test name in here. But see, in .NET, you don't do that. In .NET, you use your method name as the name of your test. So that's why it behooves you when you're writing tests in .NET to have very verbose method names, because this is what's going to get shown on the console as your tests are running or when your tests fail. So if you had if you named these things like public async test 1, test 1, like this isn't, when this thing fails or this thing is running on the in CI, that's not going to be helpful to you to figure out what's going on. So long verbose method names make sense in the when you're writing .NET tests. Good morning, Hans the dude. Good to see you. Arbor, what's the thing with the heart on the top, like Caleb Nelson? Okay, so I made this yesterday. No one's asked about it. You're the first person that's asked about it. I'm assuming most people just inferred what it is. So that is a scroll bar that is showing all the display names of people who are members on my channel currently, as of this morning. So I right now I'm just manually updating this with a script. Basically, I get the data from YouTube, and then I use a script to turn it into the correct format, and so it just scrolls across. So that is my member's display name, and then the number is how many months they've been a member. So if it says 0, they haven't been a member for a full month yet. So that's. But I wanted some way to recognize people who are willing to sign up to the channel and pay me. Basically, I wanted to recognize people who are willing to give me money to make content on the channel. I know people don't have to do that, and I'm not expecting people to do that, but I feel like if people are willing to do that, I want to show them some recognition in some way. So I decided to try to do it. Hans the dude. Great way to put it. Always thought of streaming, but scared of better devs nicking my main ideas and running with them faster and better than myself. Well, Hans the dude, this is a concern for you. Unfortunately for me, I have no good ideas. So this is less of a concern. Yeah, less of a concern for me because I don't have any good ideas. Yeah, I'm literally learning Python, so I don't really know what's going on. Oh no, yeah, but you're not the first person who's been like, why is your method name so fucking long, Steven? And my production method names aren't that long, right? Like I don't write production code that has method names that are in snake case. I only do that in my test code. Oh, I see. Then what's the 0? Yeah, the 0 is how long they've been a member. So it's their display name, and then in the YouTube API they call it membership duration is what they call it. So thank you to our illustrious members. There's only 63 of them on planet Earth at the moment. It's a very elite group of people. All right, man. These tests are working. I'm excited about this. Okay, so what have we tested so far? So we have tests that cover user to interviewer, interviewer to researcher, interviewer to user. So I think now we need to cover researcher to writer. I think is what we need to cover now. And then we have to cover all this craziness. All right. Here's writing tests is a lot like building wealth in my experience. Tests take time, right? But it's an investment in your future. So while this is not as fun to do, it would be way more enjoyable to just add new features and functionality to this thing. The benefit of having a suite of tests like this is in the future when I do want to implement features to be able to have like really good feedback that I haven't completely foobarred my app with my changes. It is so wonderful. It is the most wonderful thing in the world to be able to like confidently change your code and then be like, okay, run my tests. Okay, all my tests pass. So I mean, granted, that doesn't always mean everything's good, but it reassures you or increases your confidence, which is and increases your psychological safety. You don't have to be anxious or stressed about making changes to your code this way when you have tests. Out of curiosity, do you play any Paradox games? No, I don't think so, but I don't know what a Paradox game is. Hold on. uh, Draxman Shoshivyev got poop code. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Uh, I can't even say your name, let alone spell it. What are you talking about? I think he just called my code shit, is what he just did. Which is okay. It's probably not the greatest code. What is a Paradox game? Paradox game. Huh. Is this a game studio that you guys are talking about? That's what Google shows me. Stellaris. I think this is what chat's talking about. Stellaris players take control of an interstellar civilization. That looks cool. Yeah, this looks exactly right up my alley. One of my favorite games growing up was Civilization and Ages of Empire. So this kind of seems right up my alley. But no, I have not played it. Most creative name I've seen, yeah. I mean, it might be his legitimate name, which so I don't want to. If that's your actual name, man, I don't want to make fun of you. Have you ever used Unity? I've not used Unity, so I've written a lot of C#, but I've never done any game development stuff in C#. A lot of people have recommended it, but I've never actually done it. I'm not a big game developer person. I like to play video games, but I haven't really been bitten by the build my own game bug. Let's see. We should say when When researcher fails? Do I have a fail case in the researcher? I think I do, don't I? When researcher fails, it should rim. Thanks for subscribing, man. I appreciate it. When researchers fail, it should not pass results to writer. Or maybe when I say when researcher fails, no, that's right. Yeah, should not pass to writer. So then here I'm going to say var workflow. I probably should come up with a helper method for this. So let's do async task returns a run status, or no, a run, I think. Run workflow, yeah. Then we can come up here and dry up our code a little bit. I guess I can get rid of this to-do, can't I? I don't know if I've quite figured it the fuck out, but I've definitely figured I've definitely decided on what I'm gonna do now. Sorry guys, I fell behind on the game talk. Excuse me. Oh, you guys are talking about modding that game, Stellaris? Wow, my level is huge. Well, Artwork Shoes, I'm glad you're having fun building your game. Sorry, I got distracted here. All right, focus, lock him. What was I doing? I'm replacing all of this. That's what I'm doing. You know, actually, I don't need this syntax, do I? I can just do... And this will be a private... Oh yeah, I can make this static. Why does it keep... There we go. Alright, so we're going to clean up all this stuff. Thank you, Copilot, for your help there. But you got that all wrong. There's probably some cool Vim macro I could do to do this in like in just a handful of keystrokes. And somebody out there slamming their head against the desk watching me being like, why doesn't he use the Vim macros? Excuse me. Okay. New test. So we have our workflow. We are going to get our run await using var run. And then we basically want to mock out everything we mocked out up here. Almost everything. Mock. Actually, I think I want to factor these out, refactor these out too. Like I don't necessarily need to do this every time, right? So how can I do this? Let's see, private, static, returns an agent response, run response. Yeah, that's what I want. That's exactly what I want, Copilot. Thank you very much. Which means I think then I can just do I can get rid of this essentially, right? So I can get rid of this. And I can say var researcher agent response, research agent chat response maybe equals create. There we go. And then down here, yeah, I can swap that out. There we go. Just drives some of the stuff up so that, because it's getting kind of cluttered to where it's like not clear, like what are you setting up here? What is this test doing? Right? Why are there so many lines of code here to accomplish the setup? A medieval dynasty simulator? Now that sounds like a crazy game. Also, who would want to who would want to I mean the medieval times are pretty gruesome times, you know. Writer, chat message, response. So we can do the same thing here where we say create agent run response. We can just pass in string.empty like that. Same thing up here. Do that. We come down here. We can change all these. Copilot's really doing its job today. Same thing here. We can get rid of all this. Although, for whatever reason, keeps screwing it up sometimes too. There we go. So we got our responses being created by a helper method. We have our workflow being run by a nice little helper method. Dried up our code a little bit. I wish there was a way to like take out this code, but I think I need to kind of leave that in because sometimes I'm going to want to modify the response as part of the setup. We can also dry up this up here. So we'll say var chat message response, or actually var interviewer agent chat. It's not really a chat message response though. It's a run response. It's a run response. Naming things is hard. Yeah, like this should be interviewer agent run response. Yeah, and that should be that. And this should be writer agent run response. There we go. Now we have it just so. Arvin, I'm going for my midday hibernation. I have sleep deficit by Steven. See you, Arvin. Have a good day, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. True. It's all fun and games. yeah, it's all fun and games until there's incest, and then it's it's no longer fun and games. I volunteer to be the peasant. No, man, you do not. In medieval times, you do not want to be the peasant in medieval times, man. What did you make, bro? New sub? Hey, Rim. Yeah, I saw you subbed. What we're making is we're making a app that basically does the same thing that a human ghostwriter would do, or at least it attempts to approximate what a human ghostwriter does. And we built it using this new framework from Microsoft called the Agent Framework. And so essentially what it boils down to is I have an app that consists of a workflow of a bunch of different LLM calls, right? So a bunch of different specific system instructions given to an LLM to do specific tasks. and then I take the outputs of each LLM call and pass it to the next agent in the chain. And then eventually we get out a final draft blog post. However, I'm at the point of the project where I'm just spending time writing tests to validate the functionality that's already there. So it's not terribly exciting, but that's what we're doing. But glad to have you here, man. Crow of Demise. If you haven't, check out Open Router. It might be interesting to you, possibly. Yeah, so Open Router is very cool. Someone came into chat a week or two ago and had told us about Open Router, told me about Open Router, and I took a look at it. The only thing with Open Router is, well, there's a couple things. So there's a couple things about it. I know you're learning Python, so you're coming from a little bit different of an ecosystem. But the first thing is there's no .NET SDK, so it's only TypeScript. Which is kind of, it's like I understand why there's only Python and TypeScript SDKs. So if I wanted to use their base REST API, I'd have to go implement my own .NET SDK, and that's like, I don't know if I want to spend the time doing that. Well, actually, maybe there's some third-party ones. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a .NET one, or maybe there is. Maybe there's one on NuGet. In any event, when I looked at this, I was like, I don't want to implement my own C# SDK. And then the other thing, probably the bigger thing, is, excuse me, I don't really have need of this because Microsoft, the library from Agent Framework that I'm using, they provide a library called Microsoft.extensions.ai. So, oh, whoops. I thought that was a website. Gosh dang it. Microsoft.extensions.ai. So they provide this library, which is basically a language level layer of abstraction so that you can essentially do stuff like this. So basically you have, so what Open Router does is it creates a common abstraction at the network level, at the API level, right? So it's basically saying, hey, you can call an API that has one shape, and then you can swap out to use different models, right? We'll take care of transforming your API request to the right provider, right? So that's abstracting the provider at like the API level. And so what Microsoft.extensions.ai does, though, is it abstracts it at the language level. So you basically have Microsoft.extensions.ai sits here. Microsoft.extensions.ai. And then what library authors can go and do. So there's libraries out there already for a lot of the providers in the .NET world. So then the library authors can go implement their code against this library or these abstractions, right? So you can have, you can have a Gemini, Gemini. You can have Anthropic, right? You can have Olama. So they can all these libraries can implement the interfaces defined in Microsoft.extensions.ai, and then your app, right? So the app you're writing or the library you're writing can then depend on these extensions or these abstractions. And so if you ever want to swap out providers, your app, if you ever want to swap out providers, all you have to do is bring in, if you were using Gemini, right? All you have to do is bring in the Anthropic package, and that's basically it, because it's implementing the same abstractions that are in this library. So it's like you swap it in and out. So this is just what I'm basically trying to communicate is essentially the thing that Open Router gives you, Microsoft.extensions.ai gives you. It just gives it to you at the language level versus the API level. So I think Open Router is very cool. I just don't have a need for it at the moment, given what I'm doing. But I could definitely see if you're in the TypeScript world or the Python world. Um, Seems like it could be very helpful to get you up and running very quickly. Because in this world, the one benefit of using a service like this in this world is you wouldn't have to really change anything except theoretically some sort of configuration value, right? Or maybe these are hard coded. I guess the model names could be hard coded in your app, but you just have to change that one value essentially, and then you're using a different model, which would be kind of nice. Although, isn't it the one thing about their API? Isn't their API built around the Open AI standard? Not Open API standard, but Open AI. So I wonder how compatible it is with all the providers, especially when you start talking about like tool calling and function calling. Excuse me. But yeah, good recommendation, man, for sure. Good recommendation. Rem, how exited? Anyway, I also still learning too. Nice, very cool. What does how exited mean though? I understand you're learning, but what does how exited mean, Rem? Sock non. I see what you did there. Nice username there, Sock. How to get my friends to like coding? Oh man, how do you get your friends to like anything? Right? Like there's nothing special about coding. How do you get your friends to play Call of Duty Warzone with you? How do you get your friends to try Battlefield 6 Red Sec with you, right? Like this is um depends on the age, right? So I guess Sock, if you're like a 12-year-old kid, the only way you're going to convince a 12-year-old kid to play that coding is cool is you're going to have to introduce them to somebody in the culture that they think is cool, right? That codes. Like you're going to have to make it cool to them, right? Now if you're older, if you're like 32 like me, your problem isn't so much convincing your friends to like to code, it's so much as finding friends who have time to code. So community made stuff basically. Well, yeah, it is. It's all most of them are community made. Although Anthropic's getting ready to release a .NET official .NET SDK. But yeah, the Gemini API is a community made package in the .NET world. I don't know if OpenAI. Don't know if OpenAI has a .NET SDK. Um, OpenAI.NET SDK. I don't know if they have one. Yeah, they do. Which makes sense because they actually OpenAI and Microsoft, right? Or like Microsoft owns 20 more than 25% of OpenAI. So this would kind of make sense that there would be a NuGet package for it. But yeah, it just basically gives you the ability to have kind of a common layer of abstraction that you can freely build your app against and depend on, and then that way you're not necessarily locked into any one provider, and you can even use different providers for different use cases, right? Maybe you want to use Anthropic for one task and you want to use Gemini for another, but you don't have to deal with you don't have to deal with all the implementation details of those things in your app. You just call the iChat client or whatever the common abstraction is. So it's the same thing Open Router's accomplishing. It's just accomplishing it at a different layer of the stack. Rim, you look tired? Oh no, I feel okay. Yeah, I feel good. I might look tired just because I kind of have droopy eyes to begin with. People have always told me my eyes always look kind of droopy, so that's probably why I look tired. It is also very early though. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and we started streaming at 4:15, so it is early in the morning. I think Klein CLI is compatible with OpenRouter. Oh, okay, cool. I've never heard of Klein. Ed Spike said curl 2 works. Yes, yes, Ed. Curl does work. But there's a reason why Postman is Postman a billion-dollar company? I mean, Postman is basically GUI for curl. But there's a reason why it's made way more money than anybody's probably made using curl. Let's see, Postman valuation. It's a $5.6 million valuation. Yeah, so the GUI for curl, it exists for a reason because curl is not the most user-friendly thing to use. I mean, how excited? Oh, how excited? Okay. I saw exited and I thought, what does exited mean? But you meant excited. Gotcha. Artwork Studios. Hey, man, you don't have to worry about ever chatting here, man. If you just want to hang out and listen and do your thing, that's totally cool. Lurkers are welcome. Lurkers are welcomed and encouraged. It's essentially just a hub. Yeah, yeah, I don't know the language you want. The proper language in the .NET ecosystem is it's a common abstraction. That's the way to look at it in the .NET world. Bye, Artwork Studios. Have a good day, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us, as always. All right. Where are we here? So we are at the point where we have our response, we have our new event. Then we should resume. And then we're going to get the status. We're going to assert that the status is idle. And then I think we just want to verify that we basically want to verify that the writer agent was called is what we want to verify. I think. So how do we do that? We basically want to do all this. And then we don't need this response. We don't need this response. And we need more info is false, so it should pass to researcher. And then I think what we need to verify down here is we basically need to say we need to verify that this never runs. And more importantly, Well, I guess not that it never runs. We need to say that it only runs twice. Exactly twice. So it'll run once for the interviewer, and then it'll run once for the researcher. And the researcher, we're just going to return an empty string, which should cause the researcher to fail. And when the researcher fails, right here, right, the writer shouldn't be called. So we basically want to halt the workflow. Although I think in the future I'm gonna fix that. I think in the future there should be some way, like if one of these agents encounters an issue, right, some exceptional case, the user should be able to like resume the workflow. Like they should be able to do something from the CLI to get it to kick back up. That or we should have like a retry mechanism, right? In the okay, that passes. So we maybe here, instead of just failing, we should retry the agent, because that's why it failed. Basically, something in the agent prevented it from getting a proper response. So maybe we have some sort of resiliency here, because sometimes models don't always respond with the correct format, and then you can't deserialize the JSON that it was supposed to send you. So that can happen. So we should probably plan for resiliency. Okay, researcher fails. And then we're going to have another one that's like when researcher succeeds. Not public static class. What am I doing? Public async task. Workflow when researcher succeeds. Yeah. It should do that. But I don't want this. I want this. Awesome. Okay, look at us. 2 tests. That was a lot of copying, pasting. There's probably a way to dry this up. We could probably pass in like, yeah, there's probably a way we could dry this up, but that's fine. It's fine for now. How many of you are here? 37 of you? 37 of you wonderful peoples? Well, I'm going to go refill my coffee cup so we can finish out the last hour of the stream strong. Oh, there's 45 of you here now. Nice. Let's go. So be right back. Going to get more coffee. Also, let's disable read line. There you go. Be right back. Went to get coffee. Hopefully nobody's upstairs. My parents are here, so and I'm not really sure how much they know about me streaming every morning. So hopefully no one's really awake upstairs quite yet, so I don't have to explain what I'm doing up so early. I'm happy to talk about it with them. It's just I don't want to get caught up in a conversation. How do I, what is it? Alt left? No, Alt Shift left. Control Alt left. There you go. This is my very, very high-tech be right back screen. All right. I'll be back in a minute. I need to go in a few, so I hope it'll all go fine. Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, do your thing. I did a bunch of fake chat room pics on an imaginary IRC client named XChat. That's the most random. That's the most random message. But I'm glad you're having a good time. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, Steven, is that basement? You mean, is this my basement? Yes, this is my basement. Historically, we have not had a basement. Up until this past month when we moved into this new place, I'd just been streaming from our living room. But it's kind of nice to be able to have a dedicated space for both my office and to stream from. That doesn't really affect the rest of the house, you know. It's been nice. All right, I'm gonna go get another shot of coffee. If you're here and you need to go, totally understand. I don't expect anybody to stare at a blank, an empty chair. Um, Val, man, hooking it up with more gifted subs, dude. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's crazy. He just gave me 20 gifted subs. Val, you're insane. That is insane. I'm gonna have to go update my members file that I have after this gets done playing. People are gonna be like, what is happening? Why do I have so many? Why am I getting all these member alerts? Val, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. That's incredibly kind. It isn't Artwork Studios. It is insane, and we appreciate Val, man. I love Lamp. I'm gonna donate $100 for real, for real. That's well, I love Lamp. You do not need to donate $100, bro. I've told this to people before, and I'll just reiterate it to you guys. There's no expectation. I work 40 hours a week. I have a job as an engineer. That's how I take care of my family. It's really you don't have to become a member. You don't have to super chat. If you want to and you do it, I will take it and I'll be very appreciative and I will sing your praises. I'll put your name up on the screen. But you don't have to do that, right? You guys work hard for your cash, just like I do. So there's no expectation of that ever here. Mocked down. Nice, bro. You are now the Bob Ross of programming. That's super nice. If I could be known as the Bob Ross of programming, that would be pretty freaking cool. Val Lewis, you're the best, man. Well, I appreciate that. It's super kind, dude. I don't think of myself as the best, but I do have a lot of fun making content and talking about coding with you guys. So I appreciate y'all being here and talking and chatting and hanging out and making me better. I mean, that completely honest chat. Like I have learned, I have learned and I have been turned on to so many different things because I've spent several hours streaming over the last 9 months or 10 months, most days. So it's been selfishly, it's also been beneficial for me. I love the fact that people get alerts about the gifted members and then they come into the chat and they're like, wait, I just got a notification. I got a gifted sub. It should stop, and the alert will stop here in a minute, and I'm gonna go get coffee. But I didn't want to take off right as Val dropped a bunch of gifted memberships. Artwork Studios. I wonder, does YouTube have an API to get members? Oh, okay. You weren't here, Artwork Studios. I told this earlier. So the story time. So the scroll bar on the screen that you see, Val, fun. Yeah, well, you've made today very fun, Val. So Artwork Studios. This is a good story. I'm gonna share the story with you. So yesterday, I thought, okay, I'm gonna make this member scroll bar thing, and so I was like, okay, this should be relatively simple. I'll just call an endpoint and get the information write it to a file and then pump it into OBS, right? Well, YouTube does provide a members list. Oh yes, coffee. Yes, we're gonna go get coffee. 1 second. Members list. That's fine. Members list YouTube API. So I basically wrote a small script that uses this endpoint and produces the text you see on screen, right? However, when I actually went to make the actual call to the YouTube API, I find out that for whatever reason, you have to specifically ask for permission from YouTube to get access to this endpoint. I have no idea why, but it's a thing. So right now, this member list is not going to be programmatic for the time being until I get access. But eventually it will be. I can though, real quick. Let me update that file real quick with all the new members before I go get coffee. I always do this. I say I'm going to go get coffee, and then I just stay in the chair for like another 15 minutes. List. Give me 1 sec. We now have 83 illustrious members of the channel. Which is insane. It's absolutely insane. Alright, so the way I'm doing this is kind of annoying how I'm doing this, but why is that not working? Let's see, code. Huh. Desktop. Oh no, Val, more gifted. What is happening? I can't keep up. No. Val, thank you very much, man. That's just too kind. It's too kind, dude. You gotta. you just that's insane. Absolutely insane. So many people are gonna come into the chat and be like, "What is happening?" This happened last time Val did this. People showed up and they're like, "I don't understand why I got a gifted membership to this channel." Thank you very much, Val. I appreciate that. All right, I just updated the text file, so now we have 83 members' names, but I'll have to come back and update it for these 20. I hope it stays at 100. Yeah, and if it stayed at 100, that would be incredible. That'd be incredible, Val. That's crazy, man. I really appreciate it. See Artwork Studios. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna actually go get the coffee now. Oh, I probably should mute myself. I'll be completely honest with you guys. I don't entirely know how to react to the fact that Val gave me 40 gifted members. I'm kind of a little awestruck. He did this the other day, and I thought it was just kind of like a one-off thing. It would be the only time it would ever happen in my YouTube career. So I'm a little perplexed. Yeah, I just never would have thought anybody would be willing to do something like that for me. It's, yeah, unbelievable. More than I could ever have hoped for from from a streaming career. All right, we got our coffee. We got our new members. Now we can finish strong. I'm going to update that members file. 103 members. That's where we're at. 103 human beings on planet Earth are now members to my YouTube channel. It's unbelievable. All right, the text file has been updated. All members shall appear. All right. Let's finish off the Halloween stream strong. I wonder how the gift. I wonder too about that. Actually, my wife asked me about that. She was like, the other day when Val did this, of course, that was like the first thing I did when I got off stream was I told my wife, I was like, you wouldn't believe it. Someone just gifted 50 members to the channel. She was like, well, how do they assign it? And I honestly don't know. I'm guessing it's random, you know? I love Limp. You seriously don't have to donate, man. Don't even worry about it. Tom D Coding. Hello, Tom D Coding. You're probably one of our new members. Good to have you here. You have a stalker or a benefactor? I'm going to call him a benefactor. A little man. I'm a Laravel dev. Should I get into ML, learn TensorFlow? So I've had this question before from people. Ali, I think is maybe Ali. I said a little man. Your name is probably Ali, and I'm dumb. Are you thinking about getting out of the Laravel world or getting into machine learning because you think there's not going to be a need for Laravel devs in the future? Because if that's the motivation, I don't think that's the right reason to do it. I think you should get into machine learning or learn TensorFlow because you want to. Because I don't think the need for Laravel developers are going anywhere. So if you enjoy that work and you want to keep doing that work, I would just keep getting better at that and focus on that. But if you have a genuine interest in like switching fields, right, working in a different thing, then I say go for it. But I wouldn't let all this AI hype like scare you away from a career or a field or a type of work that you really enjoy. I thought my mouse moved by itself for a second and I got scared. It's kind of a creepy feeling. You guys weren't here. I didn't have any followers when this happened, but it was really funny when it happened on stream. So if you guys want to laugh a lot and want to laugh at me, there's a video on my YouTube channel where I was live, I was streaming. I don't think I was doing Advent of Code. I think this was like January or February of this year, something like that, where I had a moment like what Lamp just described. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Hacked. Yes, this is pretty hilarious. So basically what happened, I'll just tell you the short story, but if you want to go watch my reaction, it's kind of funny. The long story short is I was streaming, and I was working on something, and all of a sudden my mouse started to move without me. Like I basically lost control of my mouse, and I could not like my it wouldn't respond to the mouse I had on my desk, and I was like, oh my god, what happened? What's happening? Turns out, Dave7D4DR, thanks for subscribing. It turns out what happened is there was another mouse in the room where my kids played video games that was paired to my computer, and my son turned it on and started moving it around. But in the middle of the stream, I thought somebody had hacked into my computer and was fucking with me on stream. And so like I like freeze and I panic. It's kind of embarrassing. It was kind of embarrassing when it happened, but then after the fact, it was really funny. Let's see, Val. Hey man, I jumped in for a moment, but you are the man. You're doing the right thing. Well, I appreciate that, Val. It's very kind. Like, and I want everyone to know, like, I'm super appreciative of what of the gifted members, but I don't have expectation of anybody, any of you guys. Like, you guys work hard for your money, just like I work hard for your money. So you need to use your money in the best way that makes your life better. So don't even worry or think about super chatting me or membering my channel or anything like that. If you do it, I will appreciate you, but I don't expect you to. Yo Nastro? I like that username. Nice, man. Val, AI is just a tool. It predicts the next word, but it does it really fast. But that's all it is. Val is a smart and wise man. I always call it a word calculator. I stole that from the Primogen. It's a word calculator. But people, human beings have such a desire to anthropomorphize everything that we want to imbue these transformers. We want to give them human personality. We want to give them human cognition so bad, right? I mean, we do it with our own dogs. So why wouldn't we do it to something that pretends to be, human in the way it speaks? Have you ever watched yourself streaming while you're streaming? Silly question. Yes, so I got into the habit for a little while before I had anybody really. Kajani, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. It's been forever. I hope you're doing well. Kajani Adventures down here, he was one of like the first few people who would spend any time hanging out with me on stream and chatting. So it's nice to see you again, man. But yes, I did. So to answer your question, Rim, I got in the habit of always checking my stream because there was a stream where I streamed for 2 hours on mute by myself. And so I got into the habit earlier before I really had many viewers or anybody in chat to be able to help me, where I just basically would monitor my audio to make sure that like I didn't do that again. Yeah. Neo is a great example of that, the new robot. Yes. Neo is a great example of that. We human beings love to project ourselves onto other things. We love it. We do it with our dogs. We do it with inanimate objects. We do it with everything. So why wouldn't we do it with large language models? But what Val said is correct. I mean, at the end of the day, these are just lying robots, right? They're doing some really, really complicated linear algebra and matrix multiplication to determine the most likely probability of a distribution of words, right? A probability distribution. These are the words that are most likely. And then the models give us a parameter called temperature that we can use to decide how often does the model pick the most probable word, making it much more deterministic, or how creative does the model become? Does the model pick, less likely to pick the most probable word to follow? So I also think that's why you see all these companies pulling back from the AGI conversation, is because I think they're realizing that they've pushed the current state of the transformer or the large language model. I think they're realizing that they've pushed it to the place where it's going to go. I think they're realizing they're going to have to take a different approach at AGI, which is kind of interesting to see, right? It's interesting to see companies like OpenAI pivot from we're a company trying to bring AGI to the world to now we're a company that's building a browser, and we're a company that's allowing people to shop in our app, and we're, you know what I mean? Like they're kind of pivoting away from that big audacious mission statement. I mean, part of that's financial too, right? They need to make money. Kajani, I'm doing good. Got my license yesterday. Y'all watch out now. That's exciting, man. I remember getting my license. I remember being super nervous about getting my license, like passing the test. That I remember that very distinctly, of just being super, super nervous. But congratulations, man, on getting your license. A whole new form of independence. I will tell you this. I don't know if you're Kajani, I don't know if you're interested in advice or want advice, and I know you're not supposed to give unwelcomed advice, but I will share this anecdote that you know, cars are one of those things. It's probably one of the only things. Getting your license and beginning to drive is very exciting, but it's also the one activity that can very quickly derail your life, right? If you're not careful with it. So I'm sure, given that you got your license, you're a good, safe driver. It's just, you know, one wrong decision, one rushed trip, and your whole life changes, right? You hit somebody, or you get hit, or terrible, you know. So just drive safe, man. That's all. That's all I mean. I just want you to be safe behind the wheel. That's my that's my dad energy coming out. That's the 32-year-old dad in me showing up. The driving thing. I now have anxiety. I tell everybody you should drive like you have something to lose. Val, they're not able to think at all. No, they are not. But man, I tell you what though, I think we've all probably experienced this. Like when you're working with Copilot, right? And you hit return, and all of a sudden Copilot comes alive and dumps out all this code, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was thinking of writing in my head. You know what I mean? And you're like, wow, incredible. Um, but then you stop and you remember, okay, it's working on probability. It's got all the context of the file above it and the files around it. And some really smart person under came up with all this linear algebra and this matrix multiplication, and it's using all that good math that it's built on, and it's, you know, it's dumping out the what would be the most likely thing to follow the things that preceded it, right? So it feels magical when you do it, but it's not magical, right? It's science, it's engineering. I feel like I already have this test somewhere though. Yeah, I don't. So I already, this test is, I'm already testing all this in the method above. So I don't need to retest this. So I think what I need to do here is I need to say when the writer succeeds, it should pass. It should pass. It should pass blog post to editor is what it should do. Editor. So we need to now have a good response. We'll say var writer agent response equals this. And then what we'd expect is we'd actually expect this to be called 4 times. And we would expect this to be idle. But when the writer passes it to the editor, when the writer passes it to the editor, it's going to call this method, so we need to return something here. So I think what we want to do is we want to return just null. We'll just turn an empty response here. See you, Johnny. Have a good day, man. Drive safe. Fundamentally, aka not this word calculator. Very true. I think we're in the POC phase, but the real AGI will be very different. Yes, and I've always said that because I think sometimes I come across a little bit like a AI hater sometimes, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm an AI hater, because I'm not. Like, I pay for Copilot, I pay for Gemini, like I find value in LLMs. I think I'm trying to act more as like a countervailing force to all the Twitter AI hype bros, and I'm trying to offer a more middle of the road, more measured like opinion of AI. But I 100% agree, Hans the dude, that if something like Jarvis, right? If I could have a Jarvis experience, I'm in, man. Like, that's the dream, right? Who doesn't want to be Tony Stark in Iron Man? You know, having a all omnipotent assistant that can control your house and do computation for you and do, draft engineering specs. And I mean, can you imagine what that would be like? It would be game changing. And then imagine the impact of something like that, like on a societal level. It'd just be wild. I think the one thing, I don't know about you guys, the one thing that I think a lot about with AGI is, how is AGI gonna have, how is it gonna be, like, it needs data, it needs context, it needs to know about everything that's going on in the world, right? So how do you do that? How do you give access to a system? How do you give one system access to so much stuff that it can actually be useful, right? Like, this seems like it has security implications, or it has challenges that go beyond the technical challenges, right? Like the companies and countries and governments coordinating, like, how are we going to exchange data? How are we going to permit access? Who's going to control the models or the AGI? Like, conceptually, I don't know. I don't really think I'm smart enough to know how that would all work or come up with solutions for how that all works, but it seems like that would be a problem. Also, my stream is kind of becoming a little bit of a sci-fi stream, because we started the stream talking about humanoid robots and taking your robot to the to the robot repair store, and now we're ending the stream by talking about an all omnipotent artificial intelligence. Yeah, we'll have to wait for a few years for Jarvis. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Yeah, for sure, we'll have to wait for a few years. Which, it's like, I'm okay, and I'm okay with waiting. I don't know. I don't think I'm necessarily in a rush to get to Jarvis, but I do agree that, like, that will be the real game changer, right? That will be. My personal rendition is that an all-encompassing AGI is unrealistic. But imagine an AGI humanoid that grows up like a human and is essentially immortal, aka it has forever to learn everything. Yeah, that's pretty great. That's a pretty wild thought. That almost reminds me of, has anybody here read Brandon Sanderson's The Mistborn trilogy? I won't throw out the reference if it may not make sense if you haven't read those books. But yeah, that idea of this, like, some sort of being that can amass all experiences, all knowledge over a huge timeline. You know, it makes me think of Lord of the Rings, like the elves, for example, right? The elves live for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, right? So the amount of wisdom and understanding and knowledge that they carry, right? It really sets them apart as a race in that imaginary world. So it's like what you're what you're describing is like a technical equivalent of like an elf. These immortal beings that can do everything and experience everything because they have unlimited time. That's kind of wild to think about. The and I feel whenever we talk about these ideas, I feel so stupid because I'm over here trying to figure out how to write a unit test for my little LLM powered app. And there's people out there who are like you, Hans the dude, who are getting masters in AI and thinking about these actually big important. Let me write another unit test. This is my contribution to the world. I mean, we all have our gifts, okay? My gift is to write subpar working code. What was I doing? Oh, I wanted to run this. I think this will fail, but I think I know why it will fail, and I can fix it. Yep, it ended because it threw. So what we need to do is we need to say var editor agent run response. Yep, and this basically we're using this string.empty as like a stop, almost like a stop token in a way. I think if I rerun this, this will pass, I think. Yep, there we go. Tree Fingers. Hey, Steven. Hello, Tree Fingers. Good to see you. It's the first time I think I've seen you in my stream before. Your greeting kind of insinuated familiarity, but I don't think I've ever seen that username here before. True, the downside is that controlling it is not a factor. I think we're essentially at its bidding, but that's the hard part to figure out, that just because it's doable, should we? The moral and ethical dilemma of the creation, right? The creator dilemma, right? When you have the ability to give life or create something that can supplant you or overcome you. Yeah, it's kind of wild. But I do think it's a much more. I don't know about you guys, and I'm curious to see what chat thinks. But like, I'm pretty bullish on the fact that world, like an agent, an AGI, or like humanoid robots that have AGI like capabilities, I'm pretty optimistic that that's a ways away. And when I say a ways away, I mean like 20 years, right? So maybe that's not that far away in the grand scheme of things, but I'm thinking like I'll be long retired before that becomes like an everyday thing where every household has a humanoid robot in their house. Tree Fingers. I was here once before, but it was a while ago. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I must have forgotten. I apologize for that. I do try to keep track of people who engage with me on stream, and I know at some point in my, I mean, at some point, fingers crossed, at some point maybe it will get to a point where that becomes more of a challenge. But I do try to make my best effort to keep track of people who show up in the stream more than once and talk to me more than once. Anub, hello guys. Last day of this project. What's next? Yes, this is the last day. So if you're new here or newer, we've been working on this Ghostwriter application for most of the month of October. And when I started it, I really didn't even think about the fact that October is the month of Halloween, but it was kind of like the perfectly themed project for the month of Halloween. And it is in a workable state, but I've got a little bit more polishing that I need to do. But eventually, I'll release a version of it that people are welcome to use for themselves as well, and then I'll start using it myself a little bit. But after this stream today, so starting tomorrow's stream, we are gonna start learning Golang. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this language. So this was a language that one of my chatters, Stefan, kind of encouraged me to go, and he was learning it at the time, building a lot of projects with it. And he was like, I think you'd like this language. You should go try it out. And I'd seen the Primeagen work with it on stream over the last year and a half or so. Um, and so I'm going to try to learn Go. And the main reason for that is just for fun and because I want to use it to do Advent of Code. So Advent of Code is a what is it? An event, I guess you'd say. It's an event that happens every year, and for the first 24 days of the month of December, you basically get like a leak code style problem, but it's wrapped in a Christmas theme or like a holiday a holiday theme, and it's always a two-parter. So you get one part, and then you have to solve the second part. And the last 2 years I've done this, I've done it in C sharp. In 2013, I made it to like the first part of the 15th day. And then in 2014, I made it to the first part of the 17th day. So this year, my goal will be I want to at least get past the 17th day. The second part will be my goal this year. But I want to try in a new language. So I want to try and Go. So we'll see how that goes, though. We may not, since it's the first year that I've done this in Go, I might not get as far as I got last year with C sharp. Um, but yeah, so the whole month of November, we're basically just going to be learning Go. We're going to be trying to figure out how to do some basic stuff like read files from disk, parse those files. Um, Probably need to make sure I can implement breadth first search, depth first search in Go. Those types of things, because that's a lot of Advent of Code problems deal with that. And yeah, that's the plan. It should be fun. Why Golang? Yeah, there's really not a great reason other than it seemed interesting. It seemed different than the languages that I currently know, like TypeScript. It seemed like, you know, TypeScript and C sharp are similar in a lot of ways. You can write object oriented code and a little bit of functional code, and then Go seemed like it was further on the other end on the towards the functional side. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll give Go a try. The other thing that was happening at the time when we made this decision was TypeScript had just oops sorry TypeScript had just announced that they were rewriting their compiler in Go. That was the other thing that was happening at that time. So that's why. It's not really a great reason other than just cuz. Val, I wanted to say I really enjoy your streams. You make coding look not only approachable but genuinely fun. It's rare to see someone explain things so clearly while keeping such a chill vibe. Hey man, that's super kind. That's super kind. And I appreciate all the love you've shown to the channel. Everyone here appreciates it. Chat, me, everybody. Keep doing what you're doing. You're helping a lot more people than you probably realize. Dude, those are such kind words, man. Those are kinder words than I deserve. A noob. Java? Yes. So maybe Java in 2026? Maybe a noob? You can build web and app with it. Yeah, for sure. You already know C sharp. It's already OG. I don't think you need to learn Go. Again, I'm a manual QA. I barely know anything. Oh no, dude, your opinion's always valid. Don't don't doubt, dude. Manual QA for life. Okay, like we need testers. We need testers. We need exceptionally good testers. Both manual, automated. We need all types of people in all types of roles in tech, right? So don't ever sell yourself short. Yeah, I don't probably need to learn Go. It's purely for fun. That's the thing. It's like that's the joy of technology, and that's the joy of programming. Is like it's really this. it's this endless bucket of things to explore, right? And so I've spent a lot of time writing C sharp, and I'll probably continue to write C sharp off stream. I just want to try something different, you know. Tree fingers. I think a transition from C sharp to Java will be really smooth. That is somebody else. Other people have said that. A lot of people have told me that or C sharp was Microsoft's Java, which I guess if you go back and read some of the Wikipedia from the history of C sharp, that's very much the case. So, and reading, I've not written any Java, but I have read some Java, and it does look very familiar. So I would imagine going from C sharp to Go for 2025 Advent of Code will be a much rougher experience than going from C sharp to Java, because I'm guessing there's more things that map on top of each other between C sharp and Java than map on top of each other between C sharp and Go. But that's half the fun, you know, is learning new things. So I'm excited. And granted, I also know, guys, if in November y'all are like, I'm not really a Go person, I'm not interested in the streams right now, that's totally fine. Don't even think twice about it. We'll circle back to normal C sharp .NET stuff, and I'm sure there will be moments in the next month where it's not just Go, but like the primarily purpose of the stream will be to practice writing Go. You could go crazy and do it in Rust. So it's funny you say that, because I did try to start learning Rust at the beginning of this year, and then I abandoned it. Not because I didn't like it, I just, my attention went to something else. I made it to the chapter. So the way I was trying to learn Rust was I was trying to follow the Rust programming language book, and I made it to the chapter on ownership, where they start talking about the borrow checker. Yeah, ownership, and I think I made it to the chapter on ownership, and then they started getting into the borrow checker a little bit, and that's where for me, it wasn't that it was bad, right? It wasn't that Rust was bad. It was just that thinking about ownership added a layer of cognitive complexity when writing code that I hadn't experienced before. Because with TypeScript and C sharp, you don't really think about that stuff, right? Like you allocate objects, and like, I don't know, the GC will handle it, right? Like, I don't know, memory leaks, what are those? But in Rust, you sort of have the compiler is super helpful, but in Rust, as you're writing, you have this cognitive overhead of, okay, so what owns this at any given moment, and when I pass it to this function, does this function now take ownership, or do I retain it? And so you have to think about all that, and I imagine that's a very similar experience to like writing C, or any kind of manually memory, or any type of unmanaged language where you have to also think about, I allocate memory, and then I have to make sure I clean that memory up, and I have to be cognizant of the fact of how much memory I allocated, and I have to make sure all the branches of my code account for the memory that I allocated, and cleaning. And that's not something that I've had to do as a programmer in all the languages I've worked in. So it was a very interesting experience. And at some point I'll come back to it. But I do not think Advent of Code is the right time to learn Rust. Because I probably wouldn't make it past the first day. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to solve problem number 1. Modern Java is such a cool language. It was my favorite for a while. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I haven't. So, tree fingers. Do you know about the Java what is it called? Java. There's some project that's going on in the Java ecosystem that's supposed to like redefine the ecosystem. It's like Java project. It's got like a code name. Java rewrite JVM project or something. What is it called? I can't remember. There's some like I watched a YouTube video on it, and I can't remember what the heck it. Give me a sec. But I'm curious if you're in the Java world. I'm curious to get your take on it, because this guy kind of made it seem like it was going to change Java in like a really big way. History. Java. Valhalla. That's the name of the project. Valhalla. Do you guys know about this? If you're a Java dev, do you know about this? Apparently this is some big thing that's happening over there. Project Valhalla is augmenting the Java object model with value objects to address long-standing performance and design limitations, particularly concerning the distinction between primitives and objects, which I don't know anything about Java, so I don't really know how meaningful that is, but it sounded like a big deal when I listened to that YouTube video. Very controlled language. Never heard about that book thing. Is that common in most languages? I usually just jump in and learn as I need / go along. So this was the recommendation. Like when I did some Googling, the recommendation people were giving was like, just go through the official docs for Rust, and this is the official docs. They've published a book online, and so that's why I chose it. I don't think that's very common in all languages. Like I think most people probably learn languages through like Free Code Camp or Pluralsight or something like that. But Rust seems to have a smaller ecosystem in those worlds because it's newer. Yeah, any language with manual memory management is pretty much like that. Yeah, so I think I like having a GC, but I also understand the benefits of not having a GC, right? But I think it will make me a better programmer and developer if I learn these things. See you, Val. Have a good day, man. Again, Val, I can't tell you enough how appreciative I am of you being willing to gift members to the channel and support the channel that way. So we really appreciate you having you here. Hope you rest well, man. We'll see you next time. I don't think I've heard of that, but sounds cool. There's always room for improvement. There is indeed always room for improvement. All right, guys. It's 7 o'clock, and I hear my kids running around upstairs. So I think I'm gonna hop off. Like I said, tomorrow we're gonna come back, and Steven's gonna try to become a Go developer. What else? The Casper thing, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll probably start working on the Casper project in the evening. I've been trying to avoid working on it off stream, just so that I don't like lose a bunch of context with you guys. You know, if I'm working on something, I want you guys to be able to follow it as I'm working on it. So I'll keep you updated as I make progress on this thing. Once I get it to a demoable state too, I can run through a quick demo on stream, as kind of a break from the Go stuff. How many of you are still here, huh? How many we got? We got 44 people at the end of the stream. That's nuts. That's crazy. Let's see, housekeeping things. If you are new here and you want to interact with me or you want to interact with chat at all, we do have a Discord. It's much more our Discord than my Discord, but you know what I mean? Like, chat was the one who wanted to start a Discord, so I started a Discord. So if you want to be a part of that, come join it. It's at discord.stevenfreeborn.com. That's honestly the best place to like ping me if you want to ask a question, or you just want to interact with me or anyone in chat outside of the stream. That's the best place to do it. Stream schedule. Basically, my stream schedule right now is I try to wake up about 4 o'clock each morning, Central Standard Time, so 4 a.m. CST. And then I try to start the stream at 4:15. And then on the weekdays, I typically stream till 7 a.m. That's when my kids get up for school. And then on the weekends, I'll usually stream a little bit longer, till like 8 o'clock or 8:30, just until the family wakes up and starts getting around for the day. So if you see me live and you're around during those times, please feel free to stop in and say hi. Obviously, I don't I don't have any expectation that any human being in the world make time to sit and watch me code. But if you want to, come hang out. Okay, so I think that's all the housekeeping things. So I'll just end with my customary sign off. If it is Friday for you, I hope you have a wonderful Friday. If it's already Saturday for you, because time zones are a thing, I hope your Saturday is equally as wonderful. If I don't see you in the comments of a short or a video, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, Rim. Bye, Dude Davis. Bye, Tree Fingers. Bye, Val. Bye, everybody else. Yeah, and for those of you celebrating Halloween, happy Halloween. Have a safe time. If you're taking kids trick-or-treating or going trick-or-treating yourself, be safe. Check your candy. Don't let your parents take your candy, but let your parents share some of your candy. All right, guys. Bye. When you see me next time, I will officially be a Go developer. Just kidding. I'm going to try to be a Go developer. All right. Bye, chat. Bye, guys. Bye. Oh, Sorry, Norsick. I'm getting ready to jump off, but if it's quick, I'll do my best to try to answer it real quick. Sorry, man. Bad timing, I know. Like, you jumped in and then I jump out. Timing's tough. If it's quick, I'll answer it though. Not trying to rush you, just Rim, let's hope so. Yes, let's hope so. Oh no. Maybe Norsec scrolled on. I'll give him a minute. I hate to like hang up. It's like hanging up the phone on somebody. How do you recommend to learn free Python? Okay, so I can answer this very quickly. Norsec, what you should do is go open up your favorite browser, do a quick Google search for Python for everybody, which will take you to, it should take you to this website, py4e. This is taught by a guy named Dr. Chuck, py4e.com. Dr. Chuck has taught Python to thousands of people at this point through a variety of different distribution channels, all through this Python for Everybody course. You can take it on Free Code Camp. You can take it on Coursera. That's what I would recommend. And then you could also check out, if that's not enough content for you, you could also check out CS50P. This is a really great course that's put on by Harvard. That is super. Everyone sings its praises. I've only watched the YouTube equivalent of this at Norsec, so I haven't actually been through the actual course. I've just watched the YouTube videos that they did of the course. But those would be the two resources I'd recommend. Go try those. Start with Python for Everybody, and then maybe if that's not enough, jump over to CS50P, and then start building some projects. All right, now I'm gonna go. Now I'm really gonna go. All right, bye, chat. See you guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Bye. See y'all.